Hey everyone, welcome to HorseShow360 podcast. I'm Derek Braun, your host, and I'm actually doing a solo session today. Don't forget to tune in on all of our podcast platforms, Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, and tune in and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and anywhere where you can find our content. I'm doing this solo session today with you all to cover a topic that we've gotten a lot of reactions from lately. I don't know if everybody has noticed, but we've actually had some cancellations to our events. In 2025, we are going big with a lot of our events. We have some major things at Split Rock Jumping Tour coming up at a lot of our events, but I know a lot of you have reached out with a bunch of our cancellations. So this episode, really, I just want to communicate with everybody as to why we've canceled certain events, why we've kept certain events, and how that affects our tour and how it affects everybody. I know everybody's extremely disappointed at a few of our cancellations, so I just wanted to communicate that with you all and help everybody just understand why and what our methods are for coming up with keeping a horse show or not keeping a horse show. So thank you all for tuning in again. And I hope this helps everybody understand a little bit why some events work and other events don't, honestly. Just want to touch on 25, why we've canceled a few of 2025's events. Our tour, we have 10 events this year, which for all intents and purposes is a lot of events. It's definitely still a grueling schedule for my team and the team at Split Rock Jumping Tour. We're constantly working 24/7 every day planning these events. Like I've said in the past, it's about planning a wedding pretty much 3 days a week for 5 days straight, each event. So a lot goes into it. Definitely the size of our team is a big factor in it, and making sure that everybody on our team can handle the workload, handle the travel, handle all those variables. But mainly this year, we've had a few events that canceled. Specifically, we canceled our third week in the fall. We also we just announced we canceled Aiken this year, which was a super disappointment for us. Honestly, Aiken literally has been over the years one of, if not the favorite show on our tour for my team. Our team just absolutely loves going to that town. The venue in Aiken is just incredible. The footing, the stabling, everything done. Not necessarily fancy, but really done right. And we love Aiken Horse Park, and the team there is amazing to work with as well. So that was so disappointing for us. And of course, we did cancel Fort Worth for different reasons as well. So I'll kind of go through a little bit with you guys what the reasoning is and why we had to cancel those events. I know I've gotten personally reached out to from a ton of people hearing their disappointment as to why we're canceling those events. But I really think it's important for the longevity of our tour and the longevity and success of the individual events that we do have going on, that this was the right call for us moving forward. So hopefully this gives people a little bit of an insight as to why we had to make these tough decisions and move on to create more special, better events in the future. First and foremost, last year in the fall, we really had a tough go of it. That's a new series that we've developed over the past couple of years at the Kentucky Horse Park. And luckily, the Kentucky Horse Park is really set up for anything that happens, weather-wise, exhibitor-wise, or anything of the above. But last year was sort of a perfect storm. The Kentucky National event is always a great show. It's what I would consider a big box horse show. We have a lot of horses, plenty of entries. We do offer FEI now, which wasn't there in the past. That's been a great success, and we intend on continuing with that event for many years to come. This year at that event, we do in 2025 have from USHJA amateur hunter finals that we're really excited about. We have 2'6" amateur hunter finals, 3'6" amateur hunter finals, and amateur Gladstone Cup. So we're very excited of introducing those this year into that event in Kentucky. And then we went into fall one this past year, and obviously everybody knows that horse shows are a risk when it comes to weather. And this year we did somehow get hit with a hurricane during fall one this year in September, and that really affected our entries. We pushed on with it. Luckily, we had used, like I said, the Kentucky Horse Park is just equipped for everything. We were able to use the All-Tech Arena, indoor arena, and really make the show work and happen in the covered and the All-Tech, and help it kind of sustain itself a little bit. But we definitely lost a lot of money on that event, and it was a bit of a struggle because of the hurricane, and rightfully so. Most people didn't really want to risk showing in that kind of weather. Even if it was indoors, you still have to walk outside to get to the arenas and stuff like that. So totally understand that one. So we are going to keep that one this year and hopefully for many years to come. I think that's a really great pairing for Kentucky National Week and Fall One, to have 2 weeks for people to really plan, love to come to the Kentucky Horse Park and experience it in the best way possible. But Fall 3 over the past couple of years has really been a loser for us, to be honest. Our entries just haven't been good enough. I think it's for a number of reasons. Sometimes doing 3 weeks in a row really doesn't work in a particular location. It really dilutes the other two events that are bigger, and when entries are spread out over 3 weeks, one event usually really suffers. And if you don't have a big pot to fall back on and sustain it, it's just really impossible to continue with. The entries every year on that week have gone down and down. Not to mention we're giving out a ton of prize money in a 3-star. So having a 3-star event, giving out all that prize money and only having like 200 horses compete at the horse show, I mean, just really cannot sustain that. Cannot sustain itself. I mean, we've done an episode on horse show costs, so you guys have a little bit of familiarity with what it takes to put on a horse show and how much it costs, especially at a venue that you don't own. You have to rent all the infrastructure. You have to bring in all the staff, all the equipment, everything like that. It just becomes impossible to operate a horse show of that caliber with that kind of quality that we expect with that number of horses. So I think that's going to be the main topic for right now is seeing which number of horses at a certain level of event works and works for the long run to continue on. So I think that's the biggest factor here, that event has just, gone downhill over the years with number of entries. And honestly, we just can't sustain it. And I know it's unfortunate for people that plan those multiple weeks or that week in particular, but I think it's better for everybody in the future. And definitely better financially for my team that we had to make that tough call to cancel Fall 2 this year. So now we have 2 great weeks in a row that people can really plan in advance, have a great fall tour in Kentucky before they head to indoors or Florida or wherever they choose to go next. So I think everybody can plan this year. Kentucky National is going to be a major, amazing week, and Fall 1 is also going to be a 3-star this year. So 2 big weeks in a row. You can plan. We are going to be using the Rolex Stadium for all the jumpers, the main jumpers this year. We have zone championships for Fall 1 as well. So it's going to be a really big, exciting couple of weeks. So we did have to make the tough call to cancel the 3rd week. So, these were a little bit unique factors combining 2 things. This past year was a perfect storm, literally, with the hurricane hitting southeastern United States and working its way up to Kentucky and causing flooding and extreme weather. And then Fall 2, it affected heavily with the number of entries, so we had to cancel that one. The next one that we had to cancel is Aiken. This one has really caused the most uproar with a lot of people reaching out, disappointed, letting us hear it on social media that they're disappointed that event has been canceled. We've had that event for 4 years, and honestly, it's been just really one of the funnest, most consistent events that we've done over the years, and I'm personally super disappointed that we had to cancel that. Like I said, the team there has just been great to work with. The facility is just, great in every way that it needs to be great. Footing, stabling, proximity to the town. Mike and I have touched on that in the past. So I know everybody is so disappointed. A lot of people use that as an event on their way south for the winter, whether they're going to Ocala, Wellington, Sarasota, these type of locations. It was a perfect like middle ground to their trip down. A lot of people used it for that. But honestly, in the same breath, the entries have really gone down every year, and I really just want people to understand that in order to run a horse show the way we expect ourselves to run it, with the quality, the production, the music, the aesthetics, the quality of jumps, the quality of staffing, everything that goes into putting on a quality high performance horse show, we need a certain number of entries. And it's not even necessarily the quantity game as a whole, but to run a boutique horse show where you're only offering two, maybe three jumper rings, or even two jumper rings and maybe one small hunter ring, I still consider that a boutique horse show. And to keep our level up for Split Rock Jumping Tour, which is the way and I feel we need to do it to stay consistent as a brand, we had to make the tough call to cancel it in 2025. I absolutely hope that we can go back to Aiken in the future. I know the team there definitely expects to continue to work with us. And we hope to find a date maybe in the future that can work in that location. And we have every intention of doing that in the future, but it's just not going to happen for 2025. The reason is so you guys can have a bigger understanding is last year, I think we had somewhere around 240, 250 horses for the entire horse show. And for all intents and purposes, when we're considering absolutely everything like hay, shavings, entries, stall fees, all of that, from a rough standpoint, we basically consider it somewhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a horse per horse average entry income. And every single horse we lose at a horse show each year makes it that much more difficult to operate and break even. And I'm okay necessarily doing some events that don't necessarily make a lot of money or even just lose a little bit of money to keep going and making people happy and making sure that people in that location that support that event don't get disappointed in us and as an organizer. But when it gets beyond that threshold of losing a little, making a little, breaking even, and it goes beyond that point to where we lose 50, 75, 100 horses for a singular week, you can imagine that's a monster incremental financial swing. I mean, we're talking, if it's 75 horses, you're talking at least $100,000 worth of income that can go from breaking even to losing 100,000 in a snap of a finger. So for us, I think it's important for everybody to understand all events that cancel for this reason. There's other events that canceled this year on the West Coast and the East Coast, and the climate is really getting harder and harder to compete with. There's a lot of events going on. The more events that happen in the U.S. or in a specific region, I believe dilutes each event, not just one, and some just can't survive. And there's nothing wrong with that. We just got to find a way to make sure the ones that do survive and are popular enough can be creative enough and succeed to last the test of time into the future, because that's really important to us. We want to create events that really last a long, long time on the calendar so people can plan, predict, plan their schedule years out even, and continue to enjoy our events. But it's really important for us to keep the level of our events up. We possibly could have kept Aiken if we dummied things down, cut our costs dramatically, cut our staffing dramatically, cut our production dramatically, but that's not the product we want to give the community. So I think it's really important for people to understand that, there are certain events, even boutique events more than anything, cannot afford to lose a significant number of entries. So the only thing I can say is if there's a boutique event somewhere in your region that you really love, all I can say is support it to the max, because it is always at risk of canceling if it doesn't get enough entries. And that's just the nature of the beast. There's nothing else that can prevent that. other than making sure that that event gets a number of quantity of entries that it can succeed and push forward to the next year and pivot and adapt. So unfortunately, Aiken was one of those casualties this year. We really did everything in our power to not cancel that event, and I hope to add that event back onto the calendar in the future. We've never done that in the past, but we're serious about Aiken and trying to figure out how we can make that work in that region, potentially on a different date, different time of year that might work better for people, to where we can get 300 horses or something along those lines that we need in order to pay all of our expenses, just like anything else, any other business. You got to be able to sustain yourself. And if you can't, you can't. You got to move on. So that was Aiken. And I know everybody's super disappointed about us canceling Aiken for this year. So I just wanted to give everybody a little bit of a better perspective as to why. And it's just quite honestly, those are the reasons, the financial reasons. We just couldn't keep up with. Next, we canceled Fort Worth. Now, I think a lot of people knew this one was coming for a number of reasons. You know, over the years, again, it's a little bit the same topic. We absolutely love going to Fort Worth. The city embraces us, honestly, almost like no other. Will Rogers Coliseum is an incredible venue in the heart of Fort Worth. Have had a lot of supporters in that region, and we continue to, because we have World Cup finals in April of 2026. So really, the canceling Fort Worth for this year, I would say, is mainly because we do have World Cup finals in 2026, and we really want to focus on making sure that that championship event in April 2026 is the best championship that has ever come to America. No joke. That is our goal. We want to make sure we absolutely knock it out of the park for everybody that travels from around the world to come see that event. And we intend to put on a show for the entire world. And our main focus has already begun. Over the past 6 months, we've already started planning April 2026. So we're so excited for everybody to come and check out that event. And that is going to be the live spectated indoor championship of America next year, next spring. So, that's first and foremost. Our focus really wanted to be, those events were a little too close to each other in the same city, that we really wanted to make our focus for April 2026. The second reason was quantity of entries as well. Fort Worth, over the past 4 years as well, has not quite gotten enough entries. Probably because it was jumper only. I mean, it is near impossible to run a jumper only event. And I started my tour running jumper only events. That's our bread and butter. But in general, we just can't get enough entries to sustain our costs there. And I'm not willing to dummy down our events to a lower quality. Like we know what we stand for. We want people to expect a certain level of production and quality out of our events that I'm just not willing to compromise on. And I know y'all can understand that. So I want you guys to trust moving forward into the future what you're going to get out of a Split Rock event. And, we just don't want to diminish the quality for just making an event happen just because. So those are two of the reasons. Another reason that people probably don't even know is Will Rogers is actually going through a much needed renovation this year in 2025. So they're really bringing the venue up to date. It's one of the oldest venues, equestrian venues in the country. So they're going through renovations, and a lot of people don't know we couldn't even operate this year in December. They're closing the Coliseum and doing a lot of amazing renovations to the bathrooms, the concourse, the stabling areas, things like that. So I think those are much needed improvements that maybe in the future we can, again, just like Aiken, go back to Fort Worth, probably on a different date that can work better for people. And we hope to go back there because we absolutely love organizing events in that location. So those are the three reasons why we had to cancel Fort Worth for 2025. But I hope we can add them back to our calendar in the future. And we hope you all can enjoy them moving forward. So those are the reasons. I hope people can really understand why those 3 events had to get canceled in 2025, and we hope you all respect our decision and our reasonings, and hopefully that gave you a little bit of a further and more in-depth insight into why we canceled those events. But that doesn't diminish from what we've got going on with our tour this year. I mean, we have some incredible things coming up. We have a 5-star in April in Kentucky that we're organizing and managing for EEI during the Land Rover Kentucky 3-day event, or Defender Kentucky 3-day event. One of the largest spectated show jumping Grand Prix in all of America. Honestly, an atmosphere like no other. You can purchase your tickets right now before they sell out. It's going to be incredible. 5-star for the first time this year. Then in June, we have 2 major weeks in June that we're always excited about. Huge, amazing horse shows, big horse shows. And we also have Junior Hunter finals that we're managing for USCF this year on the 3rd week in June. So we're so excited to welcome everybody in June for Kentucky. We've got some incredible things planned for everybody. So that's going to be extremely exciting. And we're honored to have, a hunter championship of that caliber in June. And then we have a brand new event in Woodside. So we're so excited to go back to San Francisco and do a charity 2-star for the park at Woodside. And it's going to be an unbelievably exciting new event on our tour. And we hope to host that event for many, many years to come. It's going to be a 2-star, big $100,000 Grand Prix. I think all the proceeds that come in for that event are only going to be to benefit the park at Woodside and all the improvements that they're making into the future. So we've got that. The fall, like I said, we have another amateur hunter championship and zone championship in fall 1. And then of course we have Santa Anita, which is just unbelievable. So we're honored to have those events. We're hoping that's going to be a 3-star and a 5-star this year. Of course, we have a World Cup qualifier the last week at Santa Anita, which the team at first just knocked it completely out of the park last year and just put on one of the most incredible events in North America, I think. And that completes our tour for 2025. So we do have 10 events. We're so excited. Every event has something major to offer that people can really look forward to. And we know that, and we hope that makes up for the disappointment of the few canceled shows this year. And we just wanted to give you guys a little insight into why we had to cancel those events. And we hope you look forward to all of our other events on tour, and specifically World Cup Finals 2026, April. You can purchase your tickets right now on FortWorth2026.com. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys on our tour this year. Thank you guys again for tuning in to HorseShow360 podcast. I've had an absolute blast on these first 15, 16, 17 episodes with you all. We intend to keep on pushing forward. We're going to have amazing guests in the future come on. If you guys have any insight or have any topics you want me to discuss in the future, don't forget to message me, message us on Instagram, DM us. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about, what kind of guests you guys want us to have, and we're happy to put it in the queue in the future. Don't forget to tune in on any of your podcast platforms that you tune into. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and all of the above. Thank you guys for tuning in to HorseShow360 podcast, and we look forward to putting on another great episode for you next week. Thanks so much. Thank you.